Welcome back, terrestrials. In this episode, we are doing 1991's Freddy's Dead. The Final Nightmare. So here we are.
Here we are.
Yeah. Uh its budget was about 10 million and its box office was 34 million. I think that this made the most out of the series somehow.
Yeah, with the title like that, of course.
Yeah, yeah. And not to mention there's quite a few cameos, but we'll get to that.
Mm,
Jerry, what do you grade this one?
C.
Interesting. I'm gonna go B plus.
Okay.
Yeah. I didn't hate this one. I kind of liked it. It feels very 90s. It feels it
Of course.
yeah. But I would take this over five. I would probably take this one over two.
Mm,
If I had to go in order, I would go one, three, six, and then I really don't probably four, and then maybe seven and five.
no,
Um,
like this, like, oh, you gave it a grade, right?
mhm,
I'll tell you, like why I gave it so low,
mhm.
like compared to five, which five, when we talked about it, was shit. But
Mhm.
the
It
one
still
thing I,
is.
yeah, one thing I don't like about this that five does do well is the prosthetics on Freddy's face feel very like half-assed in this. Like it looks rubbery in some parts and lit like brighter or something, whereas in
Well,
Freddy
he
5
is.
he still feels like a like it's burnt and dark and but in
I
this one
I
it feels plastic.
I will agree in this one it does seem more. I mean, honestly, at this point, they I think in the originals it seems more like they did prosthetic makeup to him, and
Hmm.
in this one it feels like they did more of like a mask for him.
Yeah.
Um, Obviously that mask would have been tight fitting, and but yeah, in the cheek up here and across this part of his face, it did look very plasticky.
They got that witchy poo nose and stuff
Well,
where
he's always had that nose. That's just Robert
yeah,
Englund's
but
nose.
this one just like has that weird. I know when he like absorbs John Doe in this,
Yeah.
and like he's like, "Me forgot where you came from, but I know where you go." His nose is like this and shit, and I'm just like, what the fuck? What the fuck happened to Freddy Krueger's nose? Is it warm in the studio and it melted a little bit and shit? You know,
I
but
don't know. I mean, I didn't take note to that.
right,
I like I said, I can agree on the fact that the makeup does look a little bit drier. I guess is the easiest way to put it for me.
yeah,
It's not. There's no like lube on it to make it look wet,
yeah,
like the other movies. Um, but I like this one more. Again, I've said it a plenty of times. I'm a sucker for backstory. The more backstory you give, the more interested I am. I like knowing more about these slashers. And this one does a good job and it ties it into the story. And I
right,
also like that they make mention of Twin Peaks and then do very Twin Peaks-esque style things
yeah.
within the town of the people just all being crazy because there's no kids left and they're all just acting like the kids are still there. Like I liked all of that. That was a lot
Yeah.
of fun to watch. And then you get your cameos from Roseanne and Tom and Johnny Depp and
Johnny
it
Depp was
was
cool. Like
yeah,
they got him back to,
yeah,
do that.
yeah, it was nice of them.
Um, but yeah, like that whole town scenario, like I enjoyed that it's just weird, you
Hmm.
know. I do wish there was like I don't know, a kind of a rhyme for a reason, like where we got more time in there because it's like this long us in this town, like
No.
Well, it just doesn't feel. I mean, it feels just like we're there and then we're
It's
gone.
because you're having fun, Jerry. Time flies when you're having fun.
Thank you. Okay, I was trying to figure out why fucking
I mean,
we
they're
spend
in
more time
there.
in the fucking town. You
They're
know.
in there for a while. I mean, the second half of the movie takes place in there.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I think that I could have stood to see some more of it. But then again, the more I saw, the less of the effect it had.
Yeah.
I think when they show up and Roseanne molests the one Spanish kid, like it
What fucking movie were you watching?
what are you talking about?
It was Tracy
At the
that
carnival.
look at
Oh,
you, look at your
oh,
nose
okay. It
and
was
shit. Yeah, it
Tracy,
was
whatever.
Tracy and shit.
Oh,
Fucking
sorry.
Carlos,
They were all
I think
laying
was
right
just like
next to each other. So if
looking. Yeah,
Roseanne leaned over on one, she
or was
leaned
it
over on all
Spencer?
three.
I don't remember. Fuck.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
So,
it blends all
anyways,
three of these fuckers kind of like blend together
Breckenmeyer
sometimes.
is a treasure. Don't talk badly about him. But anyways, I think that like when you see her at the and you see the carnival situation, and then you go to the school, and then
Yeah,
you go to the orphanage, like it's all losing its effect. It's really cool, but I think the more they did it, the more I was like, all right, cool, let's go. Like,
yeah.
yeah, they're all fucking crazy like this. All right, cool. And then you see the empty town or whatever the case is, or the abandoned neighborhood or whatever.
I like them
um,
driving around in circles and not
yeah,
realizing it. You know, it's just
that
like,
was cool.
yeah, I enjoyed that, and it was all just to get them to fucking 1428 Elm Street. You know,
Mhm. Yeah.
I enjoy that. I think the one thing that I enjoy about this, which I wish they would have thought of earlier and adopted, is
Okay.
every town has an Elm Street.
Mhm.
And I like that.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like it's called Nightmare on Elm Street, but in the last five movies, it should have been called like Nightmare in Springwood. But man, they started like branching that Elm Street thing off in this.
But
And I was like,
also,
oh, we could have
w-
gone fucking anywhere.
yeah, and I think you've mentioned that before,
Hmm.
of like this series should have been Elm Streets all over the world,
Right.
even though this Elm Street was in Springwood, Ohio, and then
Hmm.
also just the next town over, Ohio. So they didn't really branch out very far.
Yeah.
I think when they left the orphanage or the halfway house, they drove past the sign. It said Springwood 2 miles.
No.
So they weren't very far from
No,
the
it was like
original.
Cincinnati or something,
Right.
you know.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like it's
It
a
was the
fucking
7-Eleven
afternoon
down the fucking
drive.
street.
Yeah.
But
Like
yeah, I mean, there's a lot of fun things in this one. And I know that this one, I think that a lot of people don't necessarily love this one. I didn't dislike it. I think again it feels very 90s, the Twin Peak like uncanny townspeople, and then the backstory. I think it gives rhyme and reason to Freddy, and I think that if you're somebody who doesn't need rhyme and reason, then I could see why this is a turn off.
right.
But for me, I like to know why.
Yeah.
It helps me understand. So it just added to the movie for me. Did I need to know that she was Freddy's child? Was that like a no, not necessarily. I
No.
mean, sure, you can add it, you can wrap it up. I mean, Freddy probably did have a kid. He was somewhat normal, I guess. Like even BTK had a whole family. So like so I get the idea behind making Freddie a normal,
Right.
father, husband, and then, he has his side work or whatever he calls it, and things go awry from there. But all that just added to me enjoying the movie. And also, again the silly 90s aspect of it, like the Breckin Myers character being a stoner the whole time, the map unfolding a ton,
That's
the
like those are small parts that are really good. Like this
yeah,
feels like a movie of like, oh, won't this be cools?
yeah.
But put them together and what do you get? It's kind of like some of those kills are kind of like, eh, you know, like well, what's your favorite kill in this movie?
I don't know. I mean, I think that probably Carlos's kills one of my favorite. I
Carlos
like
is
the
the best
idea.
kill.
I feel like, well, I like his character as well. So
Yeah,
when his kill comes, it makes it stand out more
right.
because I like the deaf character. I like that the pins dropping would hurt his hearing that bad because this alien face hugger slash ear hugger thing. I liked all those aspects to his kill, but these kills spent more time killing
Hmm.
than the other ones. Because if you remember at number three, where she's like, "All right, Freddy," and like flicks her knives, and then she's dead in 2 seconds.
Yeah,
They spent time on these kills. There was less kills, but they spent more time torturing the kid before they killed him.
yeah.
Especially John Doe's character. He's tortured throughout the whole movie and
Oh
finally
yeah,
gets it.
definitely. And if you notice too, okay, all of the kids at the halfway house or juvie hall or whatever the fuck that place is supposed to be,
Mhm.
but like all of their nightmares have to do something with the parents.
Mhm.
So it takes the blame kind of off of like, well, why are they this way? It's like
Mhm.
because of my parents, like Spencer's be like me,
Mhm.
the little video game that he's
Yeah.
doing. Carlos and his mom, like, "I
Right.
clean out your ears,
Yeah.
and then Tracy's probably got the most horrifying one
Yeah. For
with the
sure.
dad.
Yeah.
And that, like, even though we're not seeing Freddy like kill her, just possessing the dreams are, it's like, okay, yeah, some of those dream ideas are really fucking good.
Yeah.
It's not about killing, it's about self-torture.
Right, right. And it's the trauma, the PTSD
Yeah.
of what has brought them to where they are and who has made them who they are. I think that this one is not saying that the end all be all is Freddy versus Jason, but I think that that movie took a lot from this one.
Hmm.
It took, the manipulation of dreams to the next level, to torture the person. And then it also took the fact that they can pull Freddy into the real world and kill him that way,
Hmm.
from this one. So there's a lot of this one that that the Freddy versus Jason took and used successfully, I think,
Word.
uh, to further the series, I guess, as far as it is.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
and I think like it took them this long to get like dream sequences like down to a T where like, yeah, it's fucking cartoony, but like, he wakes up, John Doe wakes up in the bed and like puts his foots over the side of the bed, or I forget, does he? No, he puts his feet over the side of the bed, and then the bed goes up into outer space and stuff.
mhm.
Like, I can see that being a dream. Like,
Yeah.
oh man, I was having a dream the other night, and like I thought I was like, I did the wake up thing in your dream, and I went to go step out of bed, and fucking like is all the way up in the sky, man.
Mhm.
Like
Yeah. Yeah.
I can see that. I could see like even like a dream sequence, like, yeah, oh man, I had the weirdest dream. I was back at the place I was, like the house that I lived at as a kid. And my mom was like threatening me with a giant fucking Q-tip and stuff.
Mhm.
That's why I'm deaf now. But like all of those I can see as legitimate dreams.
Mhm.
It's not like, oh, I was a dream and I was in the boiler room of Freddy Krueger's world.
Right.
It's
Right.
like,
Yeah.
no, that's just spooky land for spooky
Right.
land. Give me
Well,
dreams.
the other thing that I think that this one did, which is an improvement on the previous one, is like, okay, they did a lot of silly shit in number
Yeah.
five. In number five, they did silly shit like the cartoon killing and stuff, like, Super Freddy versus the superhero guy.
All right.
It was stupid in that one. In this one, it was more fun. Like Meyer looking like he's in the video game, like walking and jumping and
Right.
bouncing around and shit. Like all that became actually fun and entertaining because of the quirkiness of the tone that this movie set
Yeah.
right
This
off
movie
the
has
bat
camp.
with yeah, and but I mean, like they set it off right away with the Wizard of Oz thing,
Right.
and
And
you just like, okay, so at least I know what I'm getting. They're not
the
going to,
airplane. Don't be
right? They're
such a
not
pussy.
going to, yeah,
Do you know
they're
that was
not
supposed
going
to be
to.
Divine?
Oh, was it?
It was supposed to be Divine,
That would
but
have
she
been
just
rad.
passed away.
That's rad though. That would have
Yeah,
been cool.
because Pink Flamingos is one of its first releases was on New Line Cinema. So
Uh-huh.
they wanted Divine to be the lady in the chair.
That would have been
Don't be
cool.
such a pussy, you know, that shit.
That makes sense. That would have been something as vulgar as Divine would have said.
Yeah.
That's a shame because that would have been an awesome
It would
way
have
to.
it would have yeah, it would have been
It would have.
like, oh, this movie's a fucking ass because it's got fucking
Yeah.
Divine in it, you
Right.
know, and but
But they set the tone for it right away. So
all right,
like in the other ones, they kind of do this like dark, scary Freddy, and then all of a sudden he's making like "Welcome to Primetime, bitch." It's like,
right,
whoa, wait a second. You were just scary a couple minutes ago. Like this one, they don't bother with that like intensely scary thing. Like he's
right.
scary, but he's scary in a child molester way,
Yeah,
and not in like a boo gotcha
right.
kind of way. They give him a real world fear or scariness to him
It's
instead
yeah,
of this supernatural scariness.
it's a clown syndrome. Like kids are scared of clowns. You know, well, how can they be scared of clowns? They're bright and colorful, you know, and that's what Freddy is in this
Mhm.
is he's got more comedy, you
Yeah.
know, a lot more
Oh,
comedy, you know, in this. And there aren't very like other than I would say like Tracy, but Tracy's dream isn't dark because of Freddy Krueger. Tracy's dream is dark because of what's in her head.
right,
Freddy just feeds off of that, you know.
right.
Um, he
And the
does have
makeup when the dad sits up,
oh yeah. Yeah, even
that
the
was
like,
awesome.
no, honey, for dad, you know, that
Yeah.
shit. And even like I don't remember the actor's name that plays the hippie psychiatrist, the big black guy. Fuck, I can't remember his
He's
name.
fucking rad in this. I thought
Oh
I
yeah.
was just, I at first when I first saw him, I was like, is that Kincaid all grown up?
Oh yeah, yeah, that would have been
Like,
great if it was
I mean,
with a better voice, you know, because
yeah,
you didn't
yeah.
like the voice. But
Well, yeah, for sure.
there's that one part where like he's the man in this. Like
Mhm,
he figures the whole thing out.
mhm.
But he's in the locker room. He's checking the lockers because he hears Tracy like calling
Mhm.
to him, and um, like Freddy does that dialogue of like what they've done to him. Like you taught her a lot, doc. You know that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
Um, but then he starts cutting his fingers
yeah,
and like not the finger cutting but just the look of like the lockers in the background and the whole 9 yards that was creepy to me.
mhm,
The second that I it became cartoony was you can see the prosthetic that Robert Englund is holding up and then when he has to put his regular hand down he has to put it
right.
and he
Out of
hands it
screen.
off and then
Yeah,
he's like I just keep coming back, you know.
yeah. I just
I'm
keep
just
ticking.
yeah like
Yeah,
oh so
yeah. I mean, I think that in my opinion, that's a nitpick thing. Like, yeah, is it obvious that he had to like put his hand down off the screen to pick it back up? Yeah. And they could have done some clever editing to make that simple, but um I that's not something that I was like, ah, fuck this over that, So
I think that's almost
um
like what makes it great is the little flaws, the comedy. Like maybe I was rough on the C now talking about it and realizing
yeah, because
like
you haven't really complained about a lot, and you have heard you say one
yeah,
thing I
all it
like
is
about
the
this
look
is
of Freddy Krueger. I'm not a
yeah,
big fan of,
and
but
that's fair.
I think more that I realize it, the more I'm realizing, oh, I'm taking it wrong. This isn't like a horror movie. This is a camp. This is why I like,
Yeah,
fucking Hellraiser 3. I got
right.
a lot to bitch about that movie, but it's still kind of fun to watch CD face and, shit
Yeah,
like
okay.
that,
All right. Yeah,
I know
sure.
you won't touch it with a
There
10-foot pole, but
I turned it the fuck off. I tried
yeah,
to, remember?
yeah. But I
But yeah,
like it.
I mean, yeah, I understand what you mean by the
Fucking rock the
camp
Goo
of it.
Goo Dolls, man. Fucking that soundtrack and fucking Iggy Pop song at the end of this movie. Fucking shit, yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
the
there.
music was pretty funny.
Yeah.
But Yeah, I mean, I the campiness of it, yeah, and I think that that's where they really explore it, but they
Mm,
they don't overdo it. I feel like they I feel like they did it more in 3, 4, and 5 of the campiness, like the welcome to prime time, let's get high, like all that. It's a darker imagery, but it's still just as campy. It's still
right.
just as silly as any of the other ones. And that's what I meant when we reviewed the first one of like, you have such a dark character and you chose to make him silly.
Right.
Well, this is the other end of it where, okay, you chose to make him silly, and now he's fun silly. Now
Right.
it's not, well, this is fucking stupid. You're missing an
Yeah.
opportunity to make this scary. Like now it's just like, all right, this is what you've chose, and they executed it really well. They made it silly, they made it fun. And I think that the children is a good idea. I think that their backstories are really, you know, it could be spoke to as like something that's kind of like maybe this needs to be talked about at this time at
Hmm.
91. um I think that, the backstory again, the town, the fact that it's abandoned, the fact that they can't get out of it makes it some sort of supernatural. I think the
Right.
dumbest part of this movie is the fact that there was just demons inside of Freddy this whole time. And they were
Yeah.
little
They
sperm demons.
they
Like that, just what? This is
they
the
needed
curse. This is the
something,
curse of
you
Michael
know.
Myers thing. This
Yeah.
is the thorn. They just threw that in there.
Yeah, this is
Like
the
this
thorn.
explains everything.
No, it's dream
Let's do some
demons.
more cocaine. This fixes everything.
Dream demons and stuff.
Yeah,
That's their MacGuffin. Like, how did Freddy Krueger get into kids' dreams?
yeah,
And how
yeah.
is Freddy Krueger created? Like, okay, if we
He's
can't come up with an answer, can we just say we don't fucking know?
right,
No, you got
right,
to come up with something. You
right,
got to write something down on your piece
right.
of paper. You're gonna
Yeah,
get a zero. It's just
yeah, yeah, yeah. You're going to
like,
get it incomplete.
yeah, if we just don't say why,
Yeah,
then the magic's never lost.
yeah,
Fuck.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
The
but
uh the dream sperm was
yeah,
very. It was that was like the part that I went. Okay. Yeah, now I see why people don't like this.
yeah.
Because the rest of it, I was okay with it. It was a decent movie. And to be honest, it's damn near Freddy versus Jason on Freddy's half. Like it's almost the same movie, minus the
Mm,
fact that the town isn't abandoned, and the
yes,
people, the
I
the parents act weird. They
yeah.
bring Freddy out. They figure out the backstory of Freddy. They drop the daughter thing pretty quickly, but there's a lot of similarities on that half of it. Um,
Right. But I think they made they when Freddy versus Jason, not talking about is that they were give give Freddy the equal parts dark
mhm,
and
right.
like it. I keep comparing them to Tim Curry's It,
Yeah.
where like, yeah, there's some parts, they all float down here and then he monster, but there's still those lighthearted pieces in Freddy's Dead.
Mhm.
In Freddy versus Jason, they're fewer, but there's more like of him being dark, but with light at the same time. I don't know.
Got your
I
nose.
literally went fully around in the circle.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Cut
I
all
was just
that shit
watching.
out, Jerry. You took a long time to say, yeah,
I do it
fuck,
too. I do it too.
yeah.
Um, But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't really know what else to say about this one. I liked it, and I was going to ask you. I was going to be like, "You still going to give it a C, huh?"
I don't
But
know.
yeah,
It's like it is C. Maybe like okay. Well, I give B minus to 5.
which is insane that this one would be below 5. But again, it's your opinion, not mine.
Yeah, and I really
Um,
hated 5. So I'll say B, like B plus.
yeah,
You know,
that's where
slip
I'm
a
at
B
with it.
plus in there and shit. Fucking like,
Yeah,
35 minutes after we've done this shit.
yeah. I mean, whatever.
Um,
You could just cut yourself into the front,
yeah, that's
going
a
B
lot of
plus.
work. So I'll just put the
Yeah,
B
the
plus right
effort,
here.
yeah, effort is something
It's
that,
not. It's
yeah,
not Fucking,
Yeah, clipping that scene and moving it upwards is super hard to do. I could tell I'm the only one that puts effort into this anymore.
and we
Um,
appreciate your effort,
yeah,
Jacob.
yeah, exactly.
You
You
know,
used to make thumbnails and do all kinds of fun
motherfucker,
edits,
I
and
still
now
make
you're
the
just
thumbnail.
like,
I get the
and now
poster
you
and I put
just,
video
yeah,
waste on it and
exactly.
shit.
Wow, so much effort. But yeah, I think the B plus
Yeah.
is a fair thing for this one.
Yeah, because the more you think about it, the more that the camp comes through in this movie,
Mhm,
and that's really what it is. It's not a serious movie. I mean, first of all, the movie's called Freddy's Dead, and they
mhm.
kill him the same way that they've killed him in every fucking movie. Like, really?
Well, they tried to kill me with holy water. They tried to bury me.
Yeah.
They tried to, that whole thing.
In the
Like
first
the
movie, they still tried to pull him out of the dream and kill him.
right.
And then like they realized that didn't work because they didn't have fucking dynamite or a
And
pipe
then there
bomb.
was number two. And then in three,
Right.
they tried to do like um
Right. But the whole camp of this is what makes this enjoyable.
yeah.
This is the Freddy that sells the dolls. It's that sells the t-shirts. It's the one where they realize, okay, and I mean it's got the like least amount of kills, like
Mhm.
violent, like horrifying kills. I mean, like Spencer's head, I mean, Carlos's head blows up. Like John Doe just gets like little puddles of blood on him and shit. Fucking like no one really like no graphic horror happens in this, you know.
Not to the humans, but to the dream world.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, the head explosion is, Freddy cutting off his own fingers is, but
Right. I mean,
like,
but then they squirt green blood. Like Freddy Krueger got green blood,
well,
man. Did you
he's
know
always
that?
had green blood. He had fucking green blood the first time he did that trick,
Did he?
where he was like, yeah, where he goes, Tina, dirt, dirt, and
Oh
then
yeah,
like,
fucking that's right.
but then there, it's not bloody, but it's still gory what Tracy does to her dad.
Yeah.
She rearranges his face literally, so
Yeah.
there's still those aspects to it. Barkin, he gets fucked up in a
But they're
Game Boy world or
they're
whatever, but
cartoony almost, you know,
right, and
but
that gives
still
it the camp.
horrifying,
But
you know. Yeah,
right, yeah,
that's what gives it its camp, you know.
right.
Um, okay, so you're supposed to put your 3D glasses on when she puts her 3D glasses on. Like, do you feel like you missed out because you didn't have the 3D glasses effect in this?
I I didn't know that there was anything 3D about this.
Yeah, I have on the DVD on my box set. Fucking, I think I still have mine. New Nightmare Freddy's Dead.
When does she put
When she goes into the dream world, Freddy's Dead isn't even in there.
I mean, I have the DVD, but I have the collection, so Nightmare 5 is on the other side of the disc. But
I don't have my glasses in there, but they're
I
not
have
Run Elm
3D
Street.
glasses, but it didn't show anything in 3D.
Yeah, basically
I wonder if all
when
that was cut out of mine.
no, where well they just didn't do the effect, but where she puts the 3D glasses on and she's like, I'm still seeing things the way I saw in my dream, you know. That's all 3D. That's all supposed to be 3D, but it's that red and blue 3D, which never
I
fucking
have
works.
I have red and blue 3D glasses.
Yeah, well, I mean,
Oh,
if
look.
the DVD
So
doesn't do it, you
this
know.
was New Line Cinema's first 3D film release.
Yeah.
All right, let's dive into that. Where else is that? All right, it doesn't matter. Whatever.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'll probably watch this movie more frequently than I'd like to admit.
Right.
But yeah, like I said, it's 135 or 136 for me, and then probably 475.
We still got seven, I mean, six on the way.
Right, but based on how much I didn't like the later half of this series in my head,
Right.
and the whole Back to the Future thing, I'm thinking when I come back from seven, I might be like, you know what? It's not that bad.
Good.
I might take the meta thing less seriously now,
Right.
having seen six than seven.
Right.
But I don't know.
The
Might
problem
still
is that I have
fucking
nostalgia
dislike it.
for seven.
Right,
So
right, right. And that makes
I'm
sense.
I'm already like I know what I'm doing, where I'm going with it,
Right. Yeah.
without
You're gonna,
even
to defend it to the
right,
bitter
right.
end. Which is fine. It's always cool
Yeah.
to hear two points of view.
But on
Um,
that note, Jacob,
yeah,
is this a cult classic?
I think absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, I think out of all of them, this is probably the most like cultiest of, this is what fucking Jason Goes to Manhattan should have been. Like
Hmm.
Jason Manhattan didn't have they had this kind of camp, but they didn't have this
But they
amount
took
of
it too
camp.
serious.
Yeah, they couldn't just go like full they
Yeah.
couldn't go full on
Yeah.
like okay yeah let's do this with Jay and Jason yeah he's got like like he has uppercut strength from Mortal Kombat and shit but if
Yeah.
they would
But
have gone full
they still took Jason too seriously.
hmm
If they would have made it more fun and campy, then it could have been a lot more fun.
right
Like, when he turns around and he shows the kids his face after he kicks the jukebox or the boombox, they could have made that like a funnier moment instead of like, oh, hey, man.
right
Then like, dude, you're fucking ugly. And then he like pulls his mask down and walks away or something. Like they
right
could have made it more campy. They could have made it more fun, but they chose to take it too seriously. And that's why Freddy 6 is better.
yeah
Um, but yeah, cult
yeah
classic for sure.
all right gonna go to see this in the theater.
Yeah, I would love to see this in theater.
I'd like to see this in the theater, especially with the modern day 3D effect. Not the red and blue stuff,
I
but
don't know how that would work.
you just, I don't know. Like, there's
Can you
some
do
way.
that to a film, or
Yeah,
would
because
you
I
have to
saw
reshoot it?
Finding Nemo in 3D, and that wasn't originally
But that was newer
printed.
technology,
It was
and
more
that's a cartoon, so they could have
right.
just redrawn it. That wasn't like
Mhm.
shot real. But yeah, if it was possible to do it in that new 3D, then yeah, for sure.
Right. Physical copy. Obviously, I just showed mine.
Yeah,
Fucking, but it's not
yeah.
in the box. I don't know where, but
Mine's still in the PlayStation.
right. So, yeah, physical copy, obviously. And once more, because of the remake factor, like just remaking this,
Mm,
it just, okay, yeah, sure, go ahead, do it, fucking,
nah, I think they nailed it. I don't think it needs to be touched. I think
okay,
that for what it is, they did a great job at it, and they don't need to be touching it.
right. That ending, like, oh, we didn't talk about, like, okay, so we see Freddy Krueger's, like, life
Mhm,
of being, like, bullied as a kid.
mhm.
And then, like,
A
with an
backstory.
asshole fucking, like, oh no, Alice Cooper's my dad. And just
Mhm. Yeah,
fucking, even though, like the thing about pain is you just stop feeling it and then he just shows him the razor and like Alice Cooper's back there like no like
yeah.
what the fuck did Freddy Krueger do to his dad or his stepdad or whatever fucking